Thank you so much for attending my presentation about Pokemon's most interesting buffs and nerfs, and first let's talk about Order Up. This is Dondozo's signature move, having a decent 80 base power and the dragon typing, but where this gets really dangerous is when it combines with Tatsugiri. Depending on which form you have, it boosts one of three stats: attack, defense, or speed. Predictably, the first is the most relevant, turning +2 wave crashes into +3 wave crashes. However, it had an unintended effect at the start of Scarlet and Violet. Even if Order Up hit into a Protect, it still got the stat boost. This is a big issue and makes playing passively very difficult. On the other side, Order Up became a very consistent move. It didn't really matter where you clicked it because you'd still be getting an important buff. However, in a surprising turn of events, this was unintentional and Game Freak actually patched it out of the game. It wasn't a big hit to Dondozo, but did have a real effect. Hidden abilities were introduced in Gen 5 and have completely rejuvenated many Pokemon. From Dragonite to Slowbro to Alakazam, there's countless examples. However, there are some Pokemon that had this ability changed either before or after release. I'm going to focus on the three most interesting. The worst, by far, is Scolipede. Quick Feet is pretty niche, increasing speed when affected by a status condition. However, its new ability is Speed Boost, giving it +1 speed at the end of each turn. This lets Scolipede threaten sweeps, baton pass, and be legitimately great in higher tiers. I'm kinda surprised it isn't talked about more often as one of the best buffs in Pokemon history because this shit makes Scolipede nowadays. Zapdos's is a trade-off. Lightning Rod is nice, drawing all electric moves towards it and giving it a special attack boost. While this would make it a better support Pokemon in doubles, Zapdos would lose some utility in singles. Static gives it great defensive capabilities against physical attackers, having a 30% chance to paralyze on contact. It's honestly impossible to say whether this is a true buff or nerf. I'd call it neutral. Finally, Chandelure, who was infamously slated for Shadow Tag, trapping opponents on the field. With how strong Pokemon like fucking Dugtrio are with Arena Trap, it's clear just how broken this be. However, its impact likely wouldn't be as insane, getting banned in singles and probably outclassed by Gothitelle and VGC. Even so, it's a bit scary to imagine legal. I want to clarify that last point. Perish trapping is the reason you run trapping in VGC, and it turns out that Gothitelle and Mega Gengar would probably just be better at facilitating that. It'd be really good in Ubers on non-Mega Gengar teams if trapping was legal, but its impact on formats wouldn't be that crazy. It would definitely get like hella banned from OU though. It's still really fucking good. Ally Switch is one of the most degenerate moves ever made. All it does is switch the position of your team. Not too crazy, right? Unfortunately, this is really poorly designed. It's a 50-50 machine. You might have a guaranteed kill into both of your opponent's Pokemon, but if they click Ally Switch, it's reduced to a coin flip. It could also be learned by a ton of Pokemon from Rotom to Dusclops. Game Freak saw how annoying this was and nerfed it hard in Gen 9. First, there's way less Pokemon that can actually learn it. The most relevant thing that uses it is Cresselia. Second, it was given a Protect-like effect. In essence, when used multiple times in a row, it only has a 33% chance of working. Not perfect, but makes it easier to stop in succession. Finally, it was indirectly nerfed with open team sheets. Where it was once impossible to know for sure if the opponent had it, now it's become obvious. This was actually successful. Ally Switch is almost never seen nowadays, which is very healthy for the game. Last, we'll talk about a mechanics change that simultaneously buffed and nerfed many Pokemon: Dynamic Speed. Pre-Gen 8, here's how it worked. No matter what speed affecting moves were used that turn, the order Pokemon move couldn't change. When Tailwind was used didn't matter, but in Gen 8 it was adjusted, now working immediately. This had huge ramifications for the format. We can see this in prankster users like Whimsicott and Tornadus, both of which went from very strong to holy fucking shit, this is amazing. Now you could very easily get a sluggish attacker going quickly. This also made slower Tailwind setters worse. Going back to Zapdos, it didn't exactly love the mechanic, being difficult to justify in this role. Where it was once a staple speed controller, it fell off. Not horrible, but used much more sporadically. Nowadays, many speed control Pokemon are either blazing fast, like Icy Wind Fluttermane or Booster Energy Iron Jugulas, or have Prankster. Centralizing speed control is one of, if not the biggest changes ever done to VGC, and its effects are still being felt today. In conclusion, Game Freak has taken balanced action on many different Pokemon. Surprisingly, even with their shoddy reputation, you can't deny how solid these changes have been. Thank you so much for watching.